Let's stroll around the zone of Chernobyl. Still in Pripyat. This is a supermarket, or at least it was a supermarket. As you can clearly see with the checkout and the shelves that used to contain the food. Further on, it's mushroom season, so there are mushrooms everywhere. They don't seem to be all that contaminated. Of course, if you put them on the spectrometer you will see a big cesium peak, but they don't increase the background radiation all that much. Because the floor is already quite contaminated, quite hot. So just about 4 microsievert per hour. But it's probably from the soil already. This is a great demonstration. Because this is actually the old pavement of Pripyat.
Put it on the concrete again? Oh yeah. Whoa, that's really good.
The borders have only been erected later on. So you can see that this piece of concrete here is a new piece of concrete that has not been contaminated, as it was put there after the accident in Chernobyl. So on the ground, 3 microsievert per hour approximately. And if we put it on the new concrete here, that was used to support the fence, you saw just 1 microsievert per hour. But there are random hotspots everywhere. Like here, on the floor, just randomly. Because this area has not really been decontaminated a lot, so 20 microsievert per hour in this spot. Just walking on now, 4 microsievert per hour currently. Just as we walk, with quite a lot of distance to the soil. And that's yeah, the fence around Pripyat of sorts. As you can see, it doesn't really hinder you. Except when you get stuck because you're wearing a backpack that you forgot to put into your calculations for your height.
This is the pathway from Pripyat to the nuclear power plant that the workers used when they're going to their work in the nuclear power plant every day.
It used to be a larger road actually, but there's not much left of it. Just new trees and everything growing. And old trees falling and random junk in the middle of the forest. Check it out. Oh, just randomly high background radiation, but this stuff was probably put there after the incident. Much after the incident. So let's move on.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a piece of bone.
Bone basically contains calcium, so that means due to the chemical properties it also takes up strontium, strontium-90, the isotope that is quite an issue in reactor incidents. So that's probably where some of its activity is coming from.
Yeah, that's the shoulder blade.
The shoulder blade of that animal, probably eaten up by carnivores. Moving over and across some old pipes. We're quite close to the power plant now. So I'm turning off the clicks on the Gamma Scout.
We must remain silent here. Okay, let's go.
Exactly, because the code theory hear us. Do you hear that machinery noise in the back? Yep, that's people working there. So we shouldn't make too much of a noise in order to not alarm them to our presence. Everything shows quite a large contamination. Quite uniform field of high radiation levels. As this part has not been decontaminated. It's not your general tourist tour. So you can see old pieces from railroad stuff. and other equipment here. Random bits and pieces, scrap metal, that nobody really bothered to pick up. Like some gauges like this, or ball bearings. Yeah, whatever. I'm not motherfucking Steven Spielberg. Let's move on to check out this fire vehicle here. Fire trucks roll in and then rolling over on the side to later for centuries. Let's see what else we have. Some pretty random equipment, no idea what it is exactly. If you have a clue about this, well, let me know, I guess. Radiation levels are as usual. So, let's make our way on through to the woods. The woods near Chernobyl. Near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Beautiful late summer day here. Someone has trashed an old car. And tires and everything. Zmianam pole parzet traktor, wdaleki горит reaktor. Даже тысячи рентген не сломают русский хрен. Looks like an old fire truck with a ladder. Quite comparably low background radiation levels here. 3 microsievert power. And here, near this weird shed in the middle of nowhere, just about 10 microsievert power, as you could see. Little random junk in here. Whoever left it there. Yep, definitely not decontaminated, this place. That flow looks pretty scary. Did you hear that? Yep, that's people working nearby. Always keep that in mind. Be stealthy. Okay, time to somehow go past these fucking pipes again by crawling under them. Making our way to the other side. Moving right along to higher levels of radiation, apparently. 12 to 13 microsievert power as we walk along this area. 15 microsievert power as we walk on the open plain right here. Some kind of bag. Let's check that out. Soyuz Vostok. Let's put the dosimeter there. This provides us a good example for the shielding properties of metal. You can see there's less radiation because that metal shielded it. Well, this kind of sucked. People always turned around to face me, and they promised everybody not to show their faces, so I had to put this annoying blob in the middle. Oh well. You can still see the nice landscape and the nicely contaminated moss of like, yeah, 22 microsievert power as we walk along the wasteland. There's the nuclear power plant, Chernobyl. Not too far from it, just strolling around. Totally contaminated grounds wherever you walk. Let's see what else is to find here. We're just joking about this being some kind of campfire from the super mutants. Just some kind of weird, I don't know what that is. A piece of art maybe? Curious who put it there. 20 microsievert per hour as you could see, but yeah, that's everywhere in that area. Let's sit down and camp. Oh, maybe not. Let's walk on. Pretty high radiation levels everywhere. Let's compare. It's like 16 microsievert power on the outer mass and 22 microsievert power on the Gamma Scout. But the outer mass is gamma only, so I think the Gamma Scout is not too far off for this reading. Now, what's this? Some kind of random bottles. Curious as always, I have to check out if the contents are more radioactive than the surroundings. Let's see. Doesn't seem like much. Let's remove that glass and remove the straw in 2 dimension while looking through the camera. Just 30 microsievert per hour, so not an increase from that glass being into place. Random junk. No idea who put it there. Just so you can hear what this level of background radiation sounds like. So let's move on. Random bucket of paint or something. It's been laying like that for a long time, as it seems. The underside is pretty much intact. On the top side is covered with iron 3 oxide. Let's see what else we can find. 30 microsievert per hour everywhere we walk. That will be pretty much a deja vu, I guess, but, well, let's just quickly check it out, because we're just strolling through it. Oh, yeah. High levels of radiation here on this patch of moss. Concentrated spot of like, oh, you can see it, about 80 microsievert per hour here. Oh, pretty strong contamination. Let's walk on onto the actual cemetery. Measuring some random mushrooms again. And even the outer mass is in alarm mode right here. Can you compare the readings here? Well, here you can see the graveyards. Well, been here before, but this time in HD, so I'm putting in a little bit of it. Apparently, if you can prove that you have a relative that has been buried here, then you can visit this place, this cemetery, on certain occasions. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting, and I guess that explains how all this newer stuff gets here. Like you can see, candles, some flowers, and lots of mushrooms, because it's autumn and mushroom season. I think I said about 3 times now, but doesn't seem too bad. But the outer mass goes into alarm mode again. Readings of the Gamma Scout and outer mass are quite similar. 32 versus 28 microsievert per hour. Here you can already hear that it's a much lower level of radiation. There are these patches. These square patches that are marked with these radiation warning symbols, these trefoils. They're not that much more hot than the ambient levels, but still seems quite interesting. There's different stuff, different vegetation growing on it as well. So I guess that is a maybe low level burial site. It's quite close to the reactor as well, so who knows. You can see we just had about 5 microsievert per hour there. Here it's like 9 to 10 microsievert per hour, but yeah, no idea what these sites actually are. But yeah, the stuff is pretty much a forest made out of those sites. You can see them fucking everywhere. Totally exaggerated. There's our beautiful reactor. And yeah, just everywhere you look, you will have these sites to each side, usually in the resemblance of a square, to mark whatever that is, burial sites, whatever. You could see some birds flying there. Let's walk on a bit. More contaminated moss. As you can see, we have over 60 microsievert per hour right now. 22 with the outer mass, but it's much further from the ground. Now, if we place it on the ground, it'll make a difference. You can see the outer mass goes into alarm mode, but the readings differ quite drastically. As I said, outer mass is gamma only, energy compensated Geiger millitube. And the gamma scout is, well, not shielded or anything, so it's quite interesting. If you measure an object from up close, then the gamma scout produces a much higher reading. But if you measure a uniform field from further away, which is, well, mostly gamma, let's say, then the readings of the gamma scout and the outer mass are actually quite close. So that's good. You can also hear that when I'm walking on the soil, the radiation levels are much higher than on the pavement. You can instantaneously hear a decrease and see it after a few seconds. About double the radiation. Let's play a radioactive football in the zone of Chernobyl. That's a lame football, but it works. And there's the goal. An old car wreck, or whatever that was. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little tour of the radioactive wasteland of Chernobyl.